Hello everybody and welcome to this quick tutorial on how to build our chassis. For this chassis we are going to need to learn how to build or create gears and the ratio between gears that we have worked on in class before. So what we're going to do is that hopefully by the end of this session or by the end of the week you can have something similar to this. Just so you remember, gears, in order to create a chassis, gears have to be odd. The number of gears have to be odd, so the rotation of the motor is the same on each wheel on the sides, okay? If you have an even number of gears, then the rotation will be opposite, okay? So, it's important that you have the same the odd number of gears. Okay, so let's start. Let's create a new object. I'm going to create a new file. So I'm going to go to Tinkercad. Remember that all of you should have your Tinkercad account ready. So let's create a new file. Okay? Right here on the Tinkercad basics. So just a quick review on how to use Tinkercad. Remember that on the top left you have your views, you have the top view, you have the front view, and you have the side view or the right view. Okay, if you want to go back to the normal view, you can click on home, or you can click on one of these corners over here. Okay, see what you like. Okay, and we're going to start with a very simple gear creation. So I'm going to go ahead, and on the right side there's something called a shape generator. Okay, I'm going to click on all. And on the shape generator, if we go to other pages, we're going to click on more pages, we should have gears. Okay, we have wheels and we have gears and we have pro gear, we have a useful gear. And what we're going to do is that we're going to use a metric gear because we want we want our gears to be standardized in the metric system. The metric system is according to millimeters, centimeters, etc. So we want a metric gear. So I'm going to just pull this gear right over here on the work plane. So you can see this gear needs to change a couple of things, including the number of teeth and the size of the gear. Okay, so first, let's begin by changing the height of this gear. I'm going to click right here on the height of the gear, and I'm going to change this 20 to 3. Okay, because I want my gear to be a 3 millimeter width. Okay, now the number of teeth, if you click on it, you should have the display menu that says the module, and I'm going to leave the module as 1. So all my gears are module 1. Remember that they need to have the same module and the same pitch angle in order for the gears to be coincident with your teeth. So this is important. Do not change the module or the pitch angle because otherwise you will change the size of the gear. As you can see, if I change the pitch angle, it will change the type of gear. Let me see if I can see it from the top view. That way you can see it more clearly. If you change the pitch angle, you see that the teeth kind of like change the shape of the teeth, okay? So if you have a gear with this shape of teeth and then you have another gear with this shape of teeth, they are not going to fit in. So you want the pitch angle to be exactly the same. Okay, so I'm going to leave it on 20, which is a very common and standard pitch angle, and the module of 1. Now the number of teeth here, I have a gear with a number of teeth of 18. Okay? You can decide on the ratio of your teeth. So I'm going to start with a gear with 12 teeth. Okay? So you can see it change the number of teeth. Now I have 12 teeth. Do not worry about this over here, this side over here. It's a little pointy. It's just because the gear generator creates kind of like gears for 13 or 13 or 14 or 13 or 15, but this does not have to matter. If I put 18, okay, you're always going to see this little thing over here. Okay, it's kind of like the generator. Okay, so I'm going to make a 12-tooth gear, and that's about it. It's very simple. You create the gear. Now with your right click, you can change the view. And now on this gear, I want to create another gear. Oh, first of all, I'm going to create a hole right inside, okay? Because we need an axle right across this gear. So it's very important because when we create our axles, we're going to be able to connect them to our chassis, okay? And to create our compound gear system. Now, I'm going to choose another metric gear, put it right here, and I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to change the color first, and I'm going to change this to 3. And now these gears are 18 and this gear is 12. Okay? Now remember, that is the leading gear and the guiding gear. Okay? Okay? Remember that depends on where you put the motor. If you put the motor on this one and this one is bigger than this one, then you are looking for speed. Okay? If you have the motor on the small gear and you have a leading gear, a bigger leading gear, then you're looking for torque. You're looking for more power. Okay? We'll see that later on. You can change it. And the ratio is just the ratio or the rational number between the number of teeth of one gear and the number of teeth of the other gear. Okay? So right here, this would be one rotation of this one rotation of this one will lead into half. Oh, here, it's not half. Let's put 24 so we can make it easier. So we have 24 teeth on this one, and we have 12 teeth on this one. So for one rotation of the big one, I will have 2 rotations of this one. Okay? Again, one rotation of this one will give me 2 rotations of this one. Understood? So it's very simple. I put 2 over 1. Okay? 2 is the leading gear over the guiding gear will be 2 over 1. So I have 2 rotations. So this is very important in order to understand compound gears. Okay, so I'm going to create an axle on this gear, and I'm going to create an axle on this gear. So be very attentive, because this is the way to create a hole right inside. So I'm going to go back to basic shapes, and on the basic shapes, I am going to look for a cylinder. Okay? Before I do that, I'm going to click on work plane, and I'm going to choose that the work plane is the flat side of my gear. So now you see a yellow plane right on top of this gear, and it's also on top of this gear. So I'm going to create a cylinder, which is a hole, and I'm going to put it right on top. Doesn't matter if it's perfectly aligned, we will align it in a minute. And I'm going to change the sizes of my cylinder, and I want my cylinder to be a 5 diameter cylinder. Okay, got it? Now here's my cylinder. I can move it around, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to align it in a second. Now, how do I align this and this to be centered? I'm going to hold the shift button, and I'm going to click on the cylinder, and then with the shift button pressed, I'm going to click on the gear. So the 2 objects are completely selected. Then I'm going to go to this option called Align. I should see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 little dots, which allow me to align this model wherever I want. So I'm going to align them. First, I'm going to align them like this, so it's centered. And then I'm going to click on this dot, and I can have them completely centered. Okay? Very good. Now I know that this cylinder is completely aligned in the center of this gear. Okay? So this is kind of tricky, so you guys want to start playing with it to see if you can build this. Then how do I create a hole on this gear? I'm going to select, again, this cylinder, shift press and select the other gear, and select the gear, and then I'm going to click on combine or group. When you group things, what you're doing is that you are creating a hole right on this gear. Something that you might want to do before you combine these two objects, in case you didn't get them, is you want to make this cylinder go through. Like, you can lower it down just by this black arrow. You can lower it down so you can make sure that the cylinder goes across the gear, okay? And then let's follow the process. I am going to select the cylinder, select the gear, and then click on combine, okay? Now you have a perfect hole right in the middle of the gear, which is our axle that we're going to select, okay, for our printing. Remember that all of this, we can either do it on the laser cutter or our printing 3D printer. We're going to do exactly the same for this one. So I'm going to create another cylinder right over here. Just so you remember the steps, I am going to click on it's a 5 by 5 cylinder, okay? Now I'm going to align these two by shift pressed and select the two objects. I'm going to align them. First I'm going to align them horizontally, and then I'm going to align them vertically, okay? So I have them right in the middle, and then at the end, if you want, you should do this, is just lower this cylinder so you make sure it goes across the gear, okay? Now I'm going to select the two, and I'm going to click on group. That way I can have a hole right in the middle. Okay? Now you have two gears where your rate. Okay, so as I was saying, you have the two gears. The idea that I have, you can put the work plane back here, is that you can align these gears so it looks very similar to the one that we have worked before, so you can develop your chassis. This is 1/2. You can make it 1/3. You can make it 1/3, 1/4. The thing is that the most important thing is that the chassis that we are going to build, just let me show you what it looks like, has to fit in a rectangle that is 3 centimeters or 30 centimeters by 150 millimeters. So if you look at the robot train, drivetrain, the gear ratio or the gears should look kind of like this. Let me show you right over here. Okay, so all these are 1:2 or 1:1. Like these two are 1:1. This one is 1:2, and then it goes back to this one. So it's pretty much doing exactly the same. So there is no ratio here. There is no change in the ratio either with torque or with speed, because the input is right here in the middle. The motor will go in the middle, and the output will be on these two gears at the end. Since they have the same number of teeth, it will cancel out. For example, I have 24 teeth on this one. With the 24 tooth, it's 1/1. Now, by one rotation of this one, I will have 2 rotations of this one. So it will be 2/1, okay? But if I have 2 rotations of this one, I will have 1 rotation of this one, so it would be 1/2. So it will cancel out again. So if one rotation is applied to this gear, then 1 rotation will be applied to the last wheel. You guys can play with this as you like, and the idea is that you send me a picture of the arrangement that you guys have, a different type of arrangement. It doesn't have to be this one because this is 1/1. If you want your drivetrain to be with lower scrub or higher scrub in every case, okay? So I just want you guys to play around with this. On our next session, we will learn how to add some wheels and probably the axles for this, okay? If you have any questions, watch this video again, and we will solve any doubts in our meetings. Bye.